Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been some time since I've made a YouTube video, but in my defense I have been extremely busy. However, I'm back now. So today I wanted to talk about black women's mortality rate and why black women are more likely to face complications during and after pregnancy than our non-black female counterparts. But before I move on, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe at the end of the video. So growing up and even till this day, almost every single black woman I know that has children has some sort of story of how they struggled during and post-pregnancy. Me being as naive as I am, and obviously not having any children of my own, I just assumed that that was just a part of pregnancy and that struggles came with the territory. Now that I'm more woke and now that I've been informed on how black women are more likely to face issues whilst pregnant, I soon came to the realization that this isn't normal. Like, it's not normal for any woman to face complications whilst pregnant, but why is it that black women have a higher chance of having complications during pregnancy than any other race? And that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. So, an article from the BBC that was titled "Why Are Black Mothers More at Risk of Dying?" stated that the chance of death is 1 in 2,500 for black women, according to the UK Confidential Inquiry into Maternal Deaths. The article goes on to say that this rate was 5 times smaller for white women between 2014 and 2016, which, if you ask me, is shocking. Serena Williams openly spoke about the complications that she faced giving birth and how she was lucky to have survived because she had access to a good medical team. Beyoncé also spoke about having preeclampsia while she was pregnant. This condition can cause dangerously high blood pressure and can restrict fetal growth and even increase the risk of preterm delivery. An article on the Evening Standard concluded that black women are about 3 times more likely to develop preeclampsia than white women. Let's also not forget to mention how she suffered a miscarriage back in 2011. But why is this even the case? Why is this happening? The article from the BBC stated that social factors could be behind some of the figures. So the article says that it's not known for sure whether or not social issues are a contributing factor, but it could be. So let's explore this. So we all know that black women face a plethora of issues, for example, racism, sexism, colorism, sexual assault, poverty, etc. So Rhea Clark is a doctor specializing in women's health, working in obstetrics and gynecology. Her work includes looking into the racial disparities in maternal mortality between black, white and Asian women. Dr. Rhea Clark was quoted saying, "We also know if you have an unsuitable working and living situation, if you live in poor housing, which impacts on health and outcome, you can see how that might impact on mortality." What does this have to do with anything, you ask? Well, an article from The Guardian stated that nearly a half of BME UK households are living in poverty. The article also goes on to say that Social Metrics Commissions found that nearly half of black African Caribbean households were in poverty, compared with just under 1 in 5 white families. A 2011 census stated that black people are only 3% of the population. How is this even possible? Now, I know it's been a long time since 2011, but even then I still feel like black people are the minority. The article also goes on to say that a lot of black women who died after pregnancy were facing issues like mental health and domestic abuse. There is a significant disproportionate number of ethnic minorities detained under the mental health legislation in hospitals in England and Wales. Black African women were 7 times more likely to be detained than white women. Let's also not forget to talk about how black women's pain is not taken seriously during childbirth. 25-year-old Natasha Smith from East London gave birth in 2015. She believes that her pain was underestimated and that the colour of her skin may have played into this. She told me, "Within way less than the time I was advised, my contractions kicked in hard and fast. When I called for the nurse for pain relief, they advised me to take a warm bath with lavender." Candice Brathwaite believes she was a victim of racial bias around the time she gave birth to her daughter. She says she was treated differently to mothers in the same position as her who were of a different race, and that expectant white mothers seemed to be listened to in more depth and with a sense of empathy, an approach which she says was missing from her care. When she told the staff she felt worse than I should after a cesarean, she felt her concerns weren't listened to, something she thinks could be down to racial bias within the NHS. I was told, "You're overthinking it. It's your first kid." Later, I was told, "We're taking you into theatre or you won't be here tomorrow," she said after returning to hospital with septicemia hours after being discharged. Health trusts need to admit that there is racial bias. There needs to be better training so people can say, "Am I responding to this person differently? And why is that?" I'm sure we're all aware of the racism that plagues the medical system, and if you're not aware of it, during slavery they would perform medical procedures and experiments on enslaved Africans because Europeans had this preconceived notion that black people just didn't feel pain. Myths like this are the reason why black patients in the US are 22% less likely to receive pain medication than white people. This is a topic I feel passionate about because look at what black women have to go through. We're risking our lives bringing children into the world only for some of us to not get a marriage proposal, only for some of us to be left to raise a child all by ourselves just because a man child couldn't step up, only to be reduced to a quote baby mum. And then to add insult to injury, not only are we risking our lives giving birth to black men, but these black men will then later on grow up to hate black women. As if us black women don't go through enough. This is just my opinion. If you're a guy and you get a woman pregnant knowing full well you had no intentions of committing to her or starting a family with her, you still have to pay child support. If she risked her life to give you the blessing of a child and you didn't marry her or give her any form of commitment, at the very least, she deserves child support or child maintenance. Also, if you're a black woman who doesn't want to get married, at least make sure you get pregnant by a man who will step up and look after you and the baby, because our mortality rate is far too high for this sugar honey iced tea. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Why don't you comment down below what your thoughts are on this topic? Do you think that there could be other contributing factors as to why our mortality rate is so high? Anyway, bye!